Hey guys, I'm outside of a McDonald's and I'm going to help you discern the voice of God in your life. Whenever God speaks through the prophets, and the prophet says, "The word of the Lord came to me," he is not speaking of the Lord speaking through an audible voice in their head. The prophets were not schizophrenic hearing voices in their head. What's going on here is that whatever is written in the Bible as scripture are translations of God's non-human tongue. God does not speak to the prophets in a human tongue. Only on very rare occasions does he speak in a human tongue, either in the voice of the multitude, which is pretty much incomprehensible to the human mind. He'll speak many different sentences at the same time, or he will speak in a still small voice, like the prophet Elijah, that is discerned to be the voice of God by faith, that you know that it's him every time he speaks audibly. It's either the voice of the multitude, which is completely overt and apparent, or it's a covert, still small voice that is understood by faith immediately, without any question. Whenever God speaks through his word, through the word, it's like he blows wind on you. It's like he sort of expands and contracts reality into your mind and stirs your spirit, like looking at a cloud sort of like forming around, or seeing a wind blow through a tree. And then God speaks, "I am the wind. I am the one that carries the clouds. Just as the clouds are carried by the wind, so are you carried by my word." Right? And so that is how God speaks. He doesn't speak with an audible human tongue, but his tongue is his name. He speaks through his name. That the book of Hebrews says that he swears by no name other than his own, because when he speaks by his own name. There is no greater name than the name of the Lord. When God appears to Moses and reveals his name to Moses, and he says, "I am the Lord your God," what's going on is that through the burning bush sort of emits this like certainty, like, "I am God." Like he says God to Moses, "I am the real one true God." Whenever he says, "I am the Lord your God." I'll give an example of when I received my vision of the angel of the Lord. The Lord visited me and I asked him, "Who are you?" I didn't know. I knew who he was, but I was like, "Who are you?" And just this giant, like, it's almost like this screaming sensation into my conscience, into my spirit, with the big like G-O-D sort of appearing there. And I was questioning it for a while. I was like, why would God just directly tell me like I am God? I didn't hear him say God, but my conscience was screaming, "This is God." Something like that. What he was saying, the translation of this vision, was that he answered me through his word, his non-human tongue, saying, "I am the Lord your God," right? I am Adonai. I am the sovereign, the one above all, the one that you know is God, the one that pierces your conscience to know who I am, right? I am who I am. I don't have to prove who I am because my name speaks for itself. With regards to this, anytime you have trouble discerning whether or not God is speaking to you, just ask. Just say something like, "Here I am." You're in like an unusual circumstance. My devotional, Henry Blackaby, says this, that an unusual circumstance is an index for the presence of God. An unusually holy kind of like, man, like this seems to be something of God. What you have to do is respond, "Here I am. Here I am, God, speak to me." And then God will speak to you. That's how faith works. You have to surrender yourself. And then when God gives you word, you can actually ask him for translation. You can translate the word in the human tongue through the gift of discernment. And that's how you discern the voice of God in your life.